The Heart of Art is brought to you by the Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts at Texas A&M University, bringing innovative and culturally diverse visual and performing arts programming to Texas A&M University and the Brazos Valley. The Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts fosters the creativity of our community via the transformative power of the arts.
The Heart of Art, scoping the Brazos Valley for the best artists and bringing them to your radio. Hello, good evening everyone. Welcome back to the KMU Studios. My name is Hector Nino and you're listening to The Heart of Art. Today we have a great show planned for you. We will be revisiting my interview with Ben Lewis, a middle school teacher from Brenham, Texas, but is also a professional doodler or a collage-style artist. He does these amazing pieces filled with so many little mementos, and he does all kinds of themes. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can go and check out his work yourself at bendoodlin.com. That's Ben Doodlin, DOODLIN.com. And for the second half of the show, we will be listening to some of Priscilla Salisbury's songs that she performed at the Plas Recital series that took place Sunday, October 23rd at 3 p.m. And this was hosted by the St. Andrew's Episcopal Church. And Dr. Linda Patterson was actually nice enough to provide the audio for this event. And Priscilla is a rising star opera singer. She is becoming more and more known. And she's also a teaching artist at Houston Grand Opera Community. And she is a great artist. I mean, she has performed from places in Houston to Seattle. So she's a great singer. And I'm so excited for you guys to listen to these few songs. All right, now for our announcements, we have the Friends of Chamber Music will be hosting Viano String Quartet. And these four people are the winners of the 2019 Banff International String Quartet Competition. And they will be playing works by Tchaikovsky and Schumann. So this will be a great event that will take place Thursday, that's tomorrow, November 17th at 7 p.m. at the A&M United Methodist Church in College Station. And it is a free admission, so we love free things. So make sure you go and check this event out. It'll be a lot of fun for the whole family. All right, let's start off with my interview with Benjamin Lewis. Today in the studio, we have a very special guest. He is a social studies and science teacher in Brenham, Texas, and has a bachelor's in history with a double minor in arts and business. He has been distinguished as a distinguished geography teacher in the year 2020 from the National Council of Geographic Education. And his name is Benjamin Lewis. So, hi, Ben. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited for a conversation today. And if you want to check out Ben's work while we are having this talk, you can go to bendoodlin.com, and that's Ben Doodlin, DOODLIN.com. Or you can go to his Instagram, that is back_porch_dad, if you'd like to go check out his work. All right. So, Ben, I'd like to go over the background of my guests first. But I was having a bit of difficulty coming up with your introduction because I didn't know what to describe you as, because you're an author, you're an illustrator. I mean, you do it all. So how would you describe yourself?
No, that's a great question. I'd say first and foremost, I'm a teacher. I mean, I've been blessed with a few creative gifts, but teaching is who I am and what I'm most passionate about. And I'm thankful that I can do other visual forms of art, because my most important art that I do every day is teaching, of course.
Right. Yeah. And we appreciate you for that every day.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And where were you born? Where's your place of origin?
I'm from North Texas, actually. I was born in a little town called Vernon, close to the Oklahoma border. I was raised in a town called Graham, Texas. And then I moved down to this area, the Brazos Valley, when I was probably 21 years old. So I've lived down here for about 20 years.
All right. And were you a doodler as a child?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, totally.
on like your
No,
notes and stuff.
oh yes, I mean, as a kid in class, as a college student in class, even now sitting in meetings like in a faculty meeting, and that's just the way I learn. If I'm forced to sit still, sit on my hands and just kind of absorb information, it doesn't stick. But if I
Mm.
can fidget, and like I never forgot that. And so when I teach, I allow my students those avenues. So I give out a piece of paper called sketch notes, so I say, who wants some sketch notes today? And about half the kids will raise their hand. And so it's a blank piece of paper is all it is. And they can doodle as long as what they doodle is kind of about what we're talking about that day. So if I'm discussing the history of India and they want to doodle a little Taj Mahal or something like that, then that's fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, all through college, and I never thought it would become a business, but yeah, it
Right.
totally has.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty unique for a teacher to encourage their students to doodle.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
most would probably say the opposite. But
Right.
that's
Yeah, they
awesome.
do. And my colleagues sometimes are often surprised that I use that technique, but again, it's just something that I remember from my childhood that really helped me. So I'm not going to keep it from any kid who thinks and who learns the same way that I did.
Right. Yeah, I was actually gonna ask, do you think that your love for art is related to your love for history and travel? And in what way would you say?
It might be intertwined, like in deep into the recesses of the hardwiring of your brain or something like that. I guess if I think about it, I think there is a common element between learning about world cultures and loving art.
Yep.
You know,
I definitely
um,
think so too.
so where that common element is, I'm not sure if I can point to it and say yes, that's it, but it feels like it's there.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean, I feel like your pieces are, um, I guess, a celebration of whatever idea or thing it is that you are illustrating.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like you might come across this a lot on like your EF tours that you take with your students, and cultures are represented through the things that you see. So, yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Did you have any important, teachers or motivators growing up that really pushed you to do what you wanted to do?
Oh, of course. So many. Number one, first and foremost, is my mom. Um, been my champion since day one. And even in the years when we were far apart from each other, it was still, I knew she had my back more than anyone. But as far as at school, the late Ben Holdridge of Graham, Texas, was my band director. He taught me so much, not through, I mean, he taught me music, obviously, but what he taught me most was how to carry yourself as a man in front of students, um, how to be okay with letting kind of your heart hang out on your sleeve and being emotional around young people if it's appropriate for the moment, and not kind of have that step up for live, man, like I'm a coach, so I've got to be super, I don't know, build this wall between myself and my students emotionally. And this guy, there was no wall. It was complete heart to heart. And I think that rubbed off on me.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, your pieces, I would say, are very like collage style, right? And I was wondering how you decide what elements to include within your illustration because I do see a focus in school and sports. Do you do like your research to make those specific references, or how does that go?
Yeah, well, the early pieces were all just for me. And I
Hmm.
like John, kind of like macabre stuff. I like I don't know, I like creepy animals and drool and all kinds of things. And so when I first got started, that's what I drew.
Hmm.
And then when COVID really, crushed that school year that where we all went to spring break and never came back,
Right.
we had to teach from home for the next 3 months, and we gave out 2 lessons a week. And so I would have those lessons built and administered in one day. So the rest of the week, you couldn't really go anywhere because COVID was popped off like hardcore. So I sat at home and I took one of my son's foam boards he had for one of his projects, and I drew a COVID cell right in the middle. That little spiky virus.
Oh yeah,
And
we've
I
all
drew
seen
it,
it. Yeah.
right, yeah. And then I drew a bottle around it,
Hmm.
and I put a lime in the top, and I put Corona with lime. And then I was like, so I just kept going, and I doodled, and I filled in all the way edge to edge,
Wow.
and I put it on Facebook, and I said, hey, look what I did. I'm not trying to sell it, but check this out. This is what I did, with my idle hands.
Something cool.
And people chimed in. I want a copy. I want a copy. I want a copy. So I was like, okay, I'll make 20 copies. No, 50 copies. I'll make 50 copies. And if I sell them all, great. And if I don't, oh well, it was fun. And I sold them in like 3 days. So I was like, what?
No way.
And so people were telling me, hey, will you do one based off Texas A&M? Will you do one based off of this school, that school? Will you do one based on the state of Texas? So I started to accept these commissions and sell prints. And so to answer your question, on a piece like a college, when I'm doing a collage on a college, I'll do a lot of research. I'll put feelers out to that community. Like, okay, what are the must-have things? What are the quirky little cultural details that I would never know about? And I get on Facebook this huge list. So I put it in a Google Doc and I print it out and I have it sitting right by me as I do my work. And so right now I'm doing one on West Point, and without the guy who commissioned it, without his input, I would be lost. But the really fun ones are the ones where I get to draw what I like. That's few and far between, sadly, but I've got one piece I just finished called 80s and 90s Culture, and that one was fun. I didn't have to do much research because it was all up here in my brain.
The horror films, I saw that.
Yeah, that one was a cool one. I had a guy from my hometown commission that one, and he just knew I was the perfect guy for the job, and I went crazy with that one. That one was great. But yeah, so it's kind of a mix. On things I don't know about, I put my feelers out there and I do a lot of research, but things that I'm into, I can just go.
Wow, that actually is really surprising that you just started this right in quarantine. Like, what, 2019, would you say?
Right.
2019?
Yeah, absolutely. Spring break of 2020 is when I started it.
Wow, and now you've done like a pretty good amount of them, I would say. There's like LSU, there's one for TU.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I've done really well. And I've, this last summer was, I think, the first summer I had never taught summer school because I didn't have to, because I switched my extra gig to be this art business that kind of came from nowhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have your students ever reacted to your art?
They're just starting to see. I don't talk about it in class a lot because I don't know how ethical that is to like stand. I'm sure it's fine, but that's just kind of me. Like if I stand in front of a class of 11-year-old and say, look what I'm selling, I don't know. That's kind of sketchy, but they have seen my work around town, and they have seen it in other places, and they'll come back from like a restaurant and say, Mr. Lewis, I saw one of your pieces up in a restaurant. So when they ask about it, I tell them that I have the business and things like that. So I really don't bring it up, but they know.
Yeah, they'll find out.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, your attention to detail is amazing. On your Instagram, I saw this the image of Gizmo and the fur is made up of like the rules that they're supposed to follow.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you come up with being like so detailed?
I don't know. It's just I want to draw what I think I would like to see hanging on someone's wall. Right. Okay, so. And when I was given that commission of a piece based on 80s and 90s pop culture, that gizmo was the first thing I drew. I usually draw the stuff in the middle first because I draw with pen and ink. I mean, if you mess up, like maybe you can try to hide it, but sometimes if you mess up badly, you got to start over.
Oh no.
And and so I draw the big things first, and I drew that gizmo was the first thing I drew, and on his brown fur, I didn't want to shade that in with a pen because I thought it wouldn't match my style, and it would kind of be a cop-out to use that much real estate on a canvas for just shading. And so I decided to, as small as I could, write the rules for mogwais. Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet. Don't show them sunlight, And I wrote that, again and again and again. And it seemed like forever. My hand was hurting, but
I bet.
I tell myself, when it's finished, it's going to look crazy. So I just do it, and it always ends up looking pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it gave you like the perfect effect of fur. Like, it
right,
looks like fur from far away. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you find a way to like immobilize a certain time or a group. Is this like your purpose to kind of like view everything at once from afar?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I never thought about it like that, but I think so. especially with that first piece, like people would say, what is this? Because I mean, it was, the stuff on it were so random. And they would say, what is this? And I would say, it's my brain. It's my brain spilled out onto paper. It's just drawing whatever I think to draw. Like if I have a little negative space in one piece and it's in the quasi shape of a boot, then I'll draw a leather boot, you know, with maybe a snake coming out of the top and maybe quote Woody, there's a snake in my, but you know, just randomness. So it's just things that are in my mind that need an outlet. Now, when I do the piece that's commissioned for someone like the Texas A&M piece, and so many people chimed in with so many little details of things I never would have thought, then I get this kind of bank in my brain. So if I have like a piece of negative space on a canvas that's vertical, I'd say, okay, I can make the candle from muster. I can make one of the sabers from the core. I can make maybe a piece of the bonfire. It just kind of like you develop a mental kind of go-to word bank of things to put.
Yeah, like a mental repertoire kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, in that quarantine piece, I saw like elves and aliens, and there was just all kinds of stuff. It was just so awesome because I think that's really where we were in a mental state. We were all over the place.
Totally.
So that was like perfectly presented. I know that you no longer take the collage commissions, but where do you see your art going in the future?
I'll open commissions back up.
Oh, yeah.
But early on, when it was brand new, I took every commission I could get. So I thought, wow, this is popped off. I've never been paid to draw, you know. And now I'm way more selective at the jobs I take because I want to be able to sell prints, of course, and I want to be able to have fun when I do it. Right. So I'll get offered to do a certain idea, and I'll just say, you know what, no thanks. I don't think it's for me. I'm not doing commissions right now. But other times I hear a great idea that I would really be into, and it's cool to be able to be in a position where I can accept jobs that I want, and then I can turn down jobs that I don't think will interest me too much.
Right. You get to choose yourself, so that's you're your own boss in that aspect.
Right. Yeah.
Right. That's nice. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you could venture into so many things, like into animation or even like marketing. I feel like businesses would love to have a collage of like their services or products in one image. Like, that's awesome. And would you ever consider going into that marketing?
I would, but that would probably be when I retire from teaching.
Right.
You know, I mean, I'll teach well into my probably mid 50s, early 60s. I mean, who knows, but that's kind of my plan. Maybe after that I could get, and I've thought about getting my studio. I'd love to have one in downtown Brenham somewhere, to just have a place where people could, meet up, drink free beer, listen to music, just talk about art, and maybe buy a few prints, and I could be there and I could work and I could doodle all day there. But that, of course, that would be after my teaching career is over.
Well, that sounds like a great idea. Let me know when it opens up.
All right, will do.
All right. Is there something about your art that you want the audience to know that you don't think we've tackled yet?
I hide a lot of stuff in there, and a lot of the stuff I hide has never been found, ever.
You're still waiting on someone to notice it. In
my Navasota, and I'm not gonna say what it is. In my piece about Navasota, Texas, there's a how do I put this? There is a shout out to another town in it. I'll just leave it at that. I was gonna do a little dance between my UT and Texas A&M, but I decided not to even touch that with a 10-foot pole. Leave it alone. It's not up to me to touch. Like, I was gonna make some shade in both pieces towards the other college. That would be super hidden that no one would ever see. And I thought about the way to do it that no one would know, but I decided, you know what? Don't do it, because as soon as it gets out and people have these pictures all up on their walls at home and stuff, it'll just ruin it for them. So I'm not going anywhere near that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Someone's always gonna be mad. Just do it. Just do it.
I don't know, man. But let's see. I've got a lot hidden in the piece I'm doing now. After the West Point, I'm about 10% done with it. And it's more reminiscent of the first one I did, where it's just stuff on a page or just random stuff from my brain. And it's going really cool. So I can't wait for everyone to see that one.
Awesome.
and it's super creepy.
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
Draws the most attention, I think. Do you have any future travels that you're looking forward to? Because I know you're an avid traveler.
Yeah, totally. We are gonna spend my family and I are gonna spend the summer in Europe, and then I'm gonna be with students. Okay, the first half I'll be with students. The second half I'll be with my family in Europe, and so I'll be in Europe about 2 solid months, I think,
Wow.
this coming summer. Yeah, we had a trip to Thailand planned last summer, but it was kind of like the last nail in the coffin of. And I know COVID's still going, but it was like the last big cancellation from COVID,
Oh.
and that was a big bummer. But yeah, I'm always going somewhere. I can't stay still.
All right, Ben. Well, thank you so much for having this little chat with me. I love talking about where your art came from and how that started. Yeah, I mean, good luck on this new school year, and let me know when you do open up that place.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. All right, you guys, we will be going on a quick break, but do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
Support for KAMU comes from the Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts at Texas A&M University, bringing innovative and culturally diverse visual and performing arts programming to Texas A&M University and the Brazos Valley. The Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts fosters the creativity of our community via the transformative power of the arts.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the KMU Studios. My name is Hector Nino, and you're listening to The Heart of Art. Now we will be listening to Priscilla Salisbury at the Plas Recital series. This first song will be Bésame Mucho by Consuelo Velázquez, performed by Priscilla Salisbury and accompanied by Dr. Linda Patterson on piano. All right, now we will be listening to Estrellita by Manuel M. Ponce. And this will be sang by Priscilla Salisbury and accompanied by Dr. Linda Patterson on piano. All right, now for the last song of the show, this will be Cielito Lindo, a traditional Mexican folk song arranged by Liebergen, performed by Priscilla Salisbury, and accompanied by Dr. Linda Patterson on piano. All right, you guys, that is the end of our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. A big thank you to Ben Lewis for speaking with me about his doodling. And another thank you to the St. Andrew's Episcopal Church for providing that audio of Priscilla Salisbury performing these amazing songs. So thank you so much, and make sure to tune in next week. I'm Hector Nino, and you've been listening to The Heart of Art, a production of 90.9 KAMU FM. You can find all of our shows anytime at kamu.tamu.edu.
The Heart of Art is brought to you by the Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts at Texas A&M University, bringing innovative and culturally diverse visual and performing arts programming to Texas A&M University and the Brazos Valley. The Academy for the Visual and Performing Arts fosters the creativity of our community via the transformative power of the arts.